Yeah, hey Matt, can you just speak to how far your freshman class has come to where I think you guys got one field goal in the final 14 minutes today from non-freshmen? Obviously, you've had to lean on these guys in pretty tense moments here the last few games. Can you just speak to how far they've come in terms of being able to handle that responsibility and stuff like that?
Yeah, well, they've continued to improve. Each one of them has had a, kind of a different season. One guy starts off injured. Two guys redshirted the previous year. Zach doesn't have a lot of experience playing, organized basketball. So when you look at the four freshmen that are, playing for us, Mason and Brandon, get that redshirt year. Jaden is injured. Zach's, progress, if you look at it in the first 2 or 3 games, is really impressive. But then, he struggled with turnovers. He struggled handling double teams, and he's just kept getting better and kept working. Other day after practice, he stays and works on things, and he puts in extra time. And I think that's really our whole team. Our whole team puts in a lot of extra time on their game, not just him. So that's really the key, in my opinion, is that, like, across the board, everybody in the country is really going to be about the same. You practice for a couple hours a day. What are you going to do extra to separate yourself? Because it's hard. It's really hard. That's why, we've redshirted a lot of guys through the years, because now that adjustment is so much easier after you can sit that first year and mature a little bit, both physically and mentally, learning the game, just learning the game. So, Jaden really gives us a pop. Obviously, scoring the basketball offensively. Zach gives us a good low post threat and causes a lot of, problems. Mason and, Brandon are two guys that could really shoot the ball. Obviously, Ethan wasn't with us because his grandfather passed away, but I think Ethan Morton's going to be a fabulous player. He, just got a real bad break to start the season with being out with a month from mono, and then you get into a rotation, and it's hard. It's really hard, but no, just excited about them. They're guys that have been, they've been productive, and they keep working and trying to get better.
Let me take you back to the summer here real quick. With all your youth and all your questions coming out of last season and all that went on this offseason, what were kind of your realistic expectations for this team this year, if you'd be willing to share them?
Yeah. Well, I don't sit around and guess and look at it like that and say, okay, here's where I think we're going to be. I just look at it and say, here's what we need to work on. Here's where we need to get better. Here are the staples of success to win in the Big Ten. Like, this is the things that you have to do and grow into to be a good basketball team. So just try to get better, try to help each guy. Our assistants do a fabulous job working with guys, watching film with guys, just putting in a lot of time with them. I think we've done a good job in evaluating. Obviously, we have talented guys, but we have, good guys that came here to get their education and want their team to win. I think that's a hard piece to what's my role, and can my role go into a team concept? And that's an important piece for young guys. A lot of young guys don't get that because they've always been the best or second best player coming into college. It's just a hard thing. That's why a lot of those guys go to prep school, and they got to jump into prep school, and most of them got to play a role there. And that adjustment helps. A lot of people don't look at it that way, but that adjustment helps. You learn to sacrifice. And we've had guys keep a great attitude, and not everybody on our team likes their role or likes coming off the bench. And I'm cool with that. I like that. I don't want someone who's content. I want someone who wants to play and wants to play more, but also stay professional and help us win and understand that, this is about Purdue. So our guys have done a really good job. We started in the summer. I think the advantage we've had this year, and some other schools are this way and some other schools aren't, is, we haven't had too many pauses. We've had one guy miss 3 games, and we've had that adjustment. That's it. We've had, a couple sprained ankles. We've had, Jaden miss games, Eric miss games, Sasha miss games, but that's it. We haven't had a whole team have to go into quarantine and not practice this year for 2 weeks or 17 days or 21 days or whatever it might have been at the time. So I think that's an advantage for us. That's one thing that we've been able to do, is just kind of keep making strides even through losses. And ultimately our team got better.
Right. In the first meeting, Trace probably would have had 30 something if he made a few more free throws. Today he gets 12, only gets 9 field goal attempts off. What did you do better against him today? Or what did your guys do better?
We just wanted to limit his post touches to the best of our ability, and try to knock him out instead of just playing 3 quarters all the time. He's a good player. We have a lot of respect for him, and just tried to make it hard as we could. But the fact that he takes the most shots on his team today, I think we would take that going into a game playing someone who averages 20 and 10, and they only get 9 shots. You got to give some credit to our team defense, but also the Travion and Zach, the guys that guard him a lot.
They didn't get any offensive rebounds in the second half. After that, I think they had 5 in the first half. Was that just doing a better job blocking out? Was that your message at halftime? What went into that?
I'd have to watch tape. Obviously, the numbers are good, but we out rebounded them by 13. That really kind of offset a game where we turned the ball over too much. They turned it over 3 times less than us, but to out rebound them by 13, I think is a great stat. So our guys did a good job with it. The guys that came off the bench, we get 22 rebounds from 3 people off our bench. They get 24 as a team. That's a pretty impressive stat.
Then just the last thing for me, what all went into the slow start offensively, and what got you out of it?
We had the turnovers. We had a couple turnovers, couple kind of ill-advised decisions, and then just had to kind of settle into the game. And after you make a couple shots, things, you get a little bit of hope. When you struggle like that at the beginning, you have no idea as a player. It feels like the walls are caving in. In reality, it's just a small part of the game. Obviously, the start of the game is an important part of the game, but it's still something that you can recover from and just try to execute and make better decisions.
I'm good. Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Mike?
Yes, thank you, Chris. Matt, but that kind of segues into my question there, where you turn to Edey and Wheeler, and they just kind of give you that spark off the bench, right?
Yeah, no question. And that's what I told our guys in the locker room. That's what a good team's about. Aaron Wheeler just didn't play well today. He's played well the last 4 games, and that's what you want. He has a lot of energy in practice, and he's always talking, and he's doing a lot of little things to help us win. And then Zach's been a workhorse coming down the stretch here in the last couple games, and he's confident, and he's making simple plays. If they're coming to double him, he's making good passes. If they're not, or he's deep, he's going right to things. He obviously had a really good, we had a lot of play for him that we were fortunate to win in, and we had a lot of play for him in the first half that was well executed. He also did that tip dunk, or that put back in the second half too on the drive by Eric. So yeah, it's great to be able to, have a bench, that can come in and, and provide a spark for you.
Just for this team to get a top 4 seed in the Big Ten tournament and a double bye, what kind of accomplishment is this for this club?
I think it's great. Obviously we didn't play a game. I talked to our guys afterwards. I said I thought it was a championship effort. Last year the 3 teams that won our league were 14-6. I know we're 13-6, and we didn't have a home game get played. But I think if we'd have played that game, I think we had a good chance to win. Nothing's ever guaranteed. And so we have the same record as the league champion from the year before. And for the youngest team in the league, I think that's something to build off of. And that's what we want to be able to do, is build off of that and play good in the Big Ten tournament and get ready for the NCAA tournament. So just proud of our guys. For hanging in there and staying positive, and just being ready to practice and being ready to play.
Anything else, Mike?
You must have cut out.
No,
right.
I'm sorry. No, I'm good. Thank you.
I've got one.
Yep.
I know you just mentioned you're proud of your guys and such, but obviously putting all this together involves you and your staff too. I mean, for all that you guys have had to go through, I mean, it's how important has all that been too, though, with what you guys have been able to do with this group?
Yeah, it's you get into a season and you're younger, and people kind of want to set the narrative for you, because it's hard to have a lot of young guys play and have a good team. It just is. You normally are going to sprinkle a freshman or 2 into your mix because you want to get old and stay old. But that wasn't the opportunity for us. And, we had a couple guys leave in the spring, and it really gave opportunities to some younger guys, and they've made the most of it. You have to give them credit. But no, it's a great thing when you can, have a team that has different guys step up at different times, and not to be just stuck on, if these two guys don't play well, there's no way we can win. Sometimes when you have certain teams, that's kind of where it gets. Not always, but sometimes, we have a team where, we have, different guys step up, whether you start or come off the bench. And that's been cool. It's been cool to coach these guys. And I walk into the office, I come out at different times. You got guys in there watching extra film. You got guys in there working on their game. You got guys that play well that are still working on their game. You get guys that are playing bad, that are struggling, probably a better word. They'll work on their, game. And so we've had that consistency throughout the year, and everything you have to go through. The one thing about what you have to go through in this pandemic is it's the same for everybody else to a degree. And that's why I keep mentioning that. It hasn't been the same for us. Like we've had the benefit of not having those, those pockets of time where we can't practice for 2 to 3 weeks, and other people have. So we've been fortunate in that area.
One thing that really never gets talked about because we don't ever see it, but can you talk just a little bit about how good your guys are as teachers?
Yeah, we have very, very good coaches, and these guys are loyal, hardworking. Brandon Brantley and Steve Lutz work with our big guys. Micah Shrewsbury works with our guards, and put in a lot of time. Obviously, we've talked in detail about Micah and from an offensive standpoint, Steve from a defensive standpoint, and Brandon from a personnel. Elliot Bloom has been with me the whole time, very knowledgeable about the program, about basketball, about everything. He's fabulous. He's does a great job for us. Nick Taruso has been here longer than I have, and so he's works and cuts all the film, and just knows the ins and outs of everything really when it comes to scouting, and gives us an advantage. Andrew McClatchy does a great job, crunching the numbers for us, the analytics, and gives us a lot of information. You got to kind of decipher through some of it to see what really relates to your team or doesn't relate at all. And he does a fabulous job. PJ Thompson and Grady Eifert are our graduate assistants. Put in a lot of time with the guys, and they're very beneficial because they've been through a lot of the struggles. You go through some things, especially in your first year or two, and it's hard. It's hard, but if guys can find their way through it and deal with that adversity, they become pretty good players. And PJ and Grady are great guys to lean on because they've been through a lot of that, and they've had a lot of success. So both of them are going to be really good coaches. So we have a fabulous staff. We have a good group. Our support staff's great, and it's fun to come to work every day. If it wasn't, then I wouldn't do it. It's why not have fun in what you do? And so that's the way I always look at it.
Thank you, Matt.
Anyone else for Matt?
Yeah, Coach. 13 to 15 assist to turnover ratio today. Some good, some bad with the ball movement. Is that something that maybe you guys can continue to address going the postseason, or you guys are where you are at this point with regards to that?
Yeah, well, I think some of it, when you go 13 to 15, I think the 15 is the number. Because sometimes that 13 is misleading because if you make 3 or 4 more shots, and the number you got to lower is the 15. You can't turn the basketball over. You're going to beat yourself. And we were fortunate tonight that we rebounded as well as we did, but we wanted to win that possession battle like you won every game, and we obviously did that. But we got to do a better job of taking care of the basketball. Got to make simple plays. We play through the post, and Trey had some plays where it was just you just got to be simple. They want to double you, pass it, but get it out of your hands. We've proven we're going to get the ball back to them. And so I think that's the one area where we got to get better. The thing about taking care of the basketball is if you do like a good job with that for say 3 to 4 games, you think, okay, we've gotten this taken care of. You never have that taken care of. Never. You never have boxing out and rebound taken care of. Those are things you always got to keep working on. And sometimes when you got to work on it the most is when you're being successful with it. Like right now, we're good rebounding. No, you're not. You go in the next game, you'll get beat by 13 on the glass. You got to keep putting in time. You got to keep working with those guys building that habit and stepping two guys and boxing out. But a lot of the turnovers to me, I'll go back and watch because there can be different ones, is concentration. Is guys, not keeping things simple, not being fundamentally sound. And it sounds kind of, like it's coming from your dad or your grandpa about being fundamentally sound, playing on 2 feet. But that's what the great ones do, man. The great ones take care of the ball. The great ones playing that can go fast and still play under control when they don't have an angle. So just trying to keep working with our guys because a lot of times that 15 turnovers will get you beat. We were fortunate that didn't happen to us tonight.
Anything else? Cool. Thank you,
Thanks.
guys.